माला सुदाम कुंभ विबोध मुद्रा विद्या विराजत करवारी जाताम अपार कारुण्य सुदाम्बुराशिम श्री शारदांबा प्रणतोस्मि नित्यम. Seeking the benediction of Jagannmata Sharada Parameshwari, that repository of all that is culture, knowledge, tradition, wisdom, art, learning and fine art, I bow to her as I commence my address today. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to this pleasant and solemn function organized this evening to signal the commencement of the Diamond Jubilee of this majestic auditorium of our Sabha. Diamond bells chime in the hearts of music lovers and all those intimately involved in the preservation, the promotion and the perpetuation of Indian classical music, art and tradition in the country. Over time, institutions like individuals tend to stagnate, freeze and get fossilized. Beckon us again and again to move on and on after every stage of fulfillment. From the haunting melody of a vocal concert, to the sweet strains of veena, to the graceful movements of a Bharatanatyam dancer, to the joyous gathering of students and parents of a neighboring school for an annual day, large congregation for a political adivation and convention, and annual general meetings of large corporates, the Sri Shanmukhananda, Chandrasekarendra Saraswathi Auditorium has been a silent witness to all. Today, it is more than an edifice. It's part of living history. It's a monument of cultural synthesis, one singular object that in its multifaceted dimension and secular nature epitomizes the city that it stands tall and proud in, and in a larger sense, the nation. The Shanmukhananda Sabha is a living tradition. As I stand before you on the occasion of this milestone, nostalgic memories of the past stare before me. The mind is full of the highs and lows of this institution as it traversed the journey of 70 years as an institution and 60 years with this majestic auditorium. On the 11th of August 1963, the Graha Pravesham of this new auditorium was done with all Vedic rituals, signaling the commencement of a very long journey of an institution. On the 22nd of August 1963, this institution was dedicated to the public and the nation at the hands of Dr. Vijayalakshmi Pandit, the then governor of Bombay. On the 28th of April 1963, Professor T.V. Ramanujam wrote to the Prime Minister of the country, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, inviting him to inaugurate this hall. The message was sent across through airmail. Those days, the practice was urgent mails to the Prime Minister's office can be given to the Dakota, the Aravalli, which used to go from Bombay to Delhi, one single flight in the morning, every day and one in the evening. So the message reached the Prime Minister the very same day, requesting him to come to Bombay. And the Prime Minister replied on the very next day, 29th of April 1963, and ensured that it reached this same day, the same way that Sabha had sent it across to the Prime Minister. This is at a time and an era when there were no emails, when there were no facsimiles, WhatsApp messages, or all types of electronic transmission that go at the flash of a second. The Prime Minister regretted his inability to inaugurate the hall because he had diplomatic engagements in the month of August, and he said that he shall request his sister, Dr. Vijayalakshmi Pandit, to do the honors on his behalf this auditorium. On an earlier occasion in 1956, the Prime Minister had criticized the citizens of this city, saying that the commercial capital of the country does not have large facilities for cultural activities or for seminars, congregations, and the Chamber of Commerce activities. It dwelt on the shoulders of these ordinary South Indians living in an obscure part of this city itself called as Madras, to take it seriously from the message of the Prime Minister. And therefore he wrote that he was extremely happy and delighted that at long last that the city has responded to his appeal to have a major cultural center in the city. On the 22nd of August 1963, after the formal inauguration of the auditorium, the journey of classical music began, and the first concert was by Padma Vibhushan, Ramanuja Iyengar. To people who are aware, that day it rained in the evening. The roads were all wet, and Ramanuja Iyengar was received far ahead of the Sabha and traditionally brought into the institution with full Purna Kumbham, like it's given to the saints, and brought into the institution to begin a divine musical journey. He was accompanied by violin by Professor T. N. Krishnan and on the mridangam by Palagat Mani. Such was a veritable concert, a vintage classic, the like of which has never been seen in this Vyasapita. On the second day, there was the divine outpouring from Chembai Vaidyanatha Bhagavatar. And then came the third day of the festival, the last day of the inaugural festival, when the Nightingale of Music, Srimati Subbalakshmi, gave a soul-stirring performance. Such was the intensity of activities and the enthusiasm that it had generated in the city, that the membership of the Sabha swelled during that period from 2,870 to 5,234. And it became necessary the members of the managing committee to stop further membership. Srimati Vijayalakshmi Pandit had very favorable feedback to give to the Prime Minister about all that she had inaugurated, and told him that he missed something that she got the opportunity to do, the divine opportunity to do. And Panditji was always inclined to believe that at the earliest opportunity, he should come to this institution. And what would not be read now, but he told K. Kamaraj, who was then an active member of the All India Congress Committee, to come to this institution, because being a South Indian, he thought he will connect well with the South Indians who were here. And Kamaraj came, saw the Sabha, and went back with full praise to the Prime Minister. It was decided that the All India Congress Committee 1964 Adhiveshan will be done in the Shankar. The Sabha was not ready in that sense of the term to hold a Adhiveshan, a political Adhiveshan of a ruling party at that time. The Worthington centrifugal air conditioning system had just arrived. It was being imported. It had to be cleared and brought in and then commissioned. But then AICC said, no, we will still have a year. 4,000 delegates from all across the country, including a few foreign delegates, were to patiently listen to the Prime Minister on the occasion of the Adhiveshan. It therefore fell onto the shoulders of the Sabha to ensure that there is coolness in the Sabha, as well the temperature does not rise on the stage. Blue Star Engineering, never before in the history of the science of air conditioning, thought of cooling it in the most unorthodox way. Trucks of ice blocks were brought in every hour, all through the 2 days, to be dumped into the water tanks, cooling the water to below 48 degrees Fahrenheit. And then the ducts were already ready by that time, waiting for only the system to come. And therefore, the air that was being generated from the water tank, out of the cooling that was being done, the evaporation that was being done, was conducted through the ducts into the auditorium. And such was the impact of coolness that not one of those 4,000 ever felt that there was no air conditioning in this auditorium. The Bombay Pradesh Congress Committee, the BPCC, was extremely appreciative of the efforts of the managing committee and the board of trustees at that point of time. And it gave a princely donation of 25,000 rupees to the Sabha, which was a large sum in the context of 1963 or 64 that it was being given to this institution. In the Australian puppetry, the folk music of Yugoslavia, the Russian ballet, and the USIS Cincinnati Orchestra of Washington all came to the Sabha. And they got introduced to this country through the platform of this institution. In the year 1965, the Sabha honored Lata Mangeshkar on 25 years of contribution to both classical music and film music. It was the only institution which did the honors to Didi and brought her over here just to demonstrate that the institution's activities are just not only classical music. It goes much beyond that. In the year 1968, the mayor of Bombay, with the Sabha, gave a grand public felicitation to Dr. Zakir Hussain, the President of India, who came all the way to receive the felicitation of the corporation and that of this institution from this very Vyasapita that the President of India was felicitated. The year 1968 also saw the Prime Minister of our country, then Prime Minister of our country, Srimati, coming for the first time to the Sabha. She had come to preside over a seminar on Go Samrakshan, the project of preservation of cows, where the original work of Madam Indira Gandhi, but appropriated by the political system through several corners of the country, believing as if was the property of the current day dispensation. The year that she came to have the seminar inaugurated sowed the seeds for an evergreen relationship between the Prime Minister and the Sabha. Every year, unfailingly, from 1968, Madam Indira Gandhi used to come to the Sabha for at least one function. It could mostly the functions of other parties or that of governments. She used to come. In the year 1969, this is the most unique aspect of the relationship between the Prime Minister and the Sabha. You all are aware that in 1968, the bank nationalization had been promulgated, and there was enough raise in the temperature in the country of the opposition arraigning themselves against the move. And fissiparous tendencies had gained currency, and divisive elements had raising their ugly heads. It was at that point of time that the Sadbhavana mission was commenced by Mrs. Indira Gandhi. And you will not believe that she came all the way to Shanmukhananda Sabha to administer the solidarity pledge to the members of the Sabha. The entire fraternity of the members of the Sabha were administered the Solidarity Pledge of the country. Never before in the history of a cultural institution such camaraderie existed between the chief executive of the state and that of an ordinary institution like several other sabhas are over here. In the year 1969, brought the young Jubilee to the Sabha's auditorium with the Los Angeles Philharmonic Orchestra, which was something new for the time being, and it came for the first time to the Sabha in the year 1969. In the year 1963 itself, Bennett Colvin and Company had brought Filmfare Awards to the Sabha. The very first year, the Filmfare Awards came to the Sabha. But in the year 1970, the Times of India group decided to consolidate all their awards and have all the awards only from the Shanmukhananda Sabha. This included the fashion show of Femina, then the Miss India contest, the Miss Young India contest of the Eve's Weekly. They were all brought over here. And it was in that year that the Filmfare Award was given to Kishore Kumar. That melodious singing of that unseen performance of his for the film Aradhana, featuring Rajesh Khanna and Sharmila Tagore. And when he came for the first time and received the award from this very platform, what went into the mind of Kishore Kumar could not be fathomed. But that very same day, he went across to Suvarna, who was the manager of the auditorium, and told him that every Friday, starting from for 10 weeks, I will book this auditorium for the Kishore Kumar night. And thus began the journey of Kishore Kumar night in the Sabha. And believe me when I say this, all the 10 shows that he had done were houseful. People thronged again and came to witness that performance on this stage of a person who was inspired by this institution. The year 1970 also saw the Philharmonic Orchestra coming from Poland for the first time into this Sabha. In fact, it was an extension of the Los Angeles Philharmonic Orchestra, but it came in 1970 to the Sabha. 1970 was, I think, probably a detour from the conventional activities of this institution. I don't know, in hindsight, you can say that was the only mistake that the committee and the trustees had on the institutional journey. It was decided to have films in the Sabha. 32 films were screened in the year 1970. And it also saw the premiere of Satyakam. Satyakam, most of you will know, featured Dharmendra, Ashok Kumar, Sanjeev Kumar, and Sharmila Tagore. But then they soon realized that this auditorium is not suited to the theatre impact of a film. And therefore, this journey continued for only a little more into the year 1971, before which it was abandoned, saying that we will not have films over here. In the year 1971, the German Film Festival came to the Sabha. During that year, the acoustics had undergone a lot of changes during that period itself and were upgraded, and as if it's an irony that when the acoustics were all improved, came the drama troupe from Bengal, from Calcutta, the then Calcutta. And the drama troupe said that we don't need any mic, any electronic systems, no acoustics. And the hall was full for 2 days. 15th of February and 16th of February of that year was the drama troupe of this performance from Bengal. All across, whether on the top floor here or down, without a single mic, 3,200 people for 2 days saw with rapt attention one of the outstanding performances of the Bengal theatre without any mic. The year following, there was a similar experience of a different type. This time, the mic failed. The mic did not fail on its own, it failed because the power supply had cut. And it was the silver jubilee of Chinmaya mission. Swami Chimayananda was present on the occasion, and the performance was that of M.S. Subbalakshmi. She was about to start when the power went. The auditorium was again packed. Swamiji decided to have a small lamp by the side of Subbalakshmi, and he beckoned her that you sing. What she sang would not have reached beyond the ears of the Swamiji. A little might have been heard on the first row, but for full 3.5 hours, people had only seen the bhava and the expression of that grand old lady of Carnatic music. Not one fellow moved from his seat. When she was about to conclude and start the Mangalam, power came. When power came, she offered that even though it was almost 11 o'clock, she offered to sing for some more time for the benefit of people who had purchased tickets and come for the program. But Swamiji will not have it. He said, we have to close at 11. And so the program ended with only Mangalam. The Swami Chimayananda announced that from 8 o'clock the next morning, every person who has paid for can come and collect full refund from the ticketing counter over a year, all through the day. You will not believe, not a single soul came. Not one person, even one cantankerous fellow, saying that I have a right to get my money back, came. That was the magic of the stage, the magic of the artist, and the divine element that had come onto this institution. In the year 1972, the Information and Broadcasting Ministry brought the National Films Award to the Sabha. Today, it's all being done at Delhi. And sometimes it goes to Goa, sometimes it goes elsewhere. 72 brought the ministry onto the platform of the Sabha. In the year 1975, history will give you a reason that emergency was promulgated in the nation by Indira Gandhi. And she had, through her office, telephoned to the Sabha and told them that she wants a function after 2 days. And she would herself come down. And she wanted to have a seminar on disciplined democracy. We are not getting to the merits of emergency or the curtailment of the it. But the fact that only 2 days were given to prepare for a program of the Prime Minister, the Sabha was equal to the task. And the Prime Minister was extremely surprised to see full audience and well-structured program on disciplined democracy that she inaugurated. Why I wanted to emphasize this is, the members, not even the trustees of the Sabha, would have endorsed the action of emergency. But when it comes from the Prime Minister of the country, we will work. Give it to you. Whether we accept it or not, it's secondary for us. This stage is important for us. And this stage, if it deserves it, it will take it. And that was the contribution in the year 1975. It went on smoothly in 1975 for 15 long years, bringing the best of classical artists and mostly Hindustani. It was a period dominated by Hindustani musicians who came in large numbers in droves to this auditorium And the Sabha's own programs had qualitatively improved, giving chance to musicians from across southern India. The drama troops came in large numbers. The dancers, the best of dancers, been featured on the stage during that period. And then came that fateful day of 28th of February, 1990. That morning session, there was the annual day of a school from the neighborhood. The hall was packed, fully packed with children and teachers. And of course, parents had also come. And as part of the program on the stage, there was a candle-lit dance. And very young children were candle being lit by them. I don't know, the breeze that was flowing in took the wick out of one candle and it traversed and hit the duct. Imagine one single candle's wick reaching the duct. From the duct, it spread across the duct, all across. And such a gigantic institution like this, tons of brick, mortar, clay, steel, all came down, reducing to rubles. It was divine providence that not a single life was lost, or even a single child was injured. All of them were cleared safely out of this institution, and most of the cities saw the structure crumbling. Today, when we see in the television, when old houses are coming down, but such a sight was there on the 28th of February, 1990. Members came in large numbers. Once it was reported that the Sabha has completely been demolished. The teary eyes of the members made them believe that the future is very bleak. And the demise of this institution has already come. What was created with so much of love and affection, extreme difficulty. It is not people had money in their pockets. They didn't have deep pockets that they could have constructed an auditorium like this. Went from house to house, pillar to post, to raise monies and build this auditorium. And before their own eyes, they saw it collapsing. Despite the fact that most of the members were grieved and had lost hopes in the institution, there was one single soul which was not fallen to fate. Grief he had, but out of adversity thought of an opportunity to rebuild this institution, replete with all attendant facilities, the latest of technologies to be brought in, which would not have come easily otherwise you would have to tinker with the system to do all that. He thought this is a divine opportunity that has come, that we have to rebuild the institution with everything. And for the next 8 years, this man was already 76 at that time, was running up and down to raise resources. Unfortunately, the insurance cover that they had taken was pathetically low, and with great difficulty he was able to manage 82 lakhs as a compensation. And the cost of rebuilding this auditorium was then estimated conservatively at 13 crores of rupees. There was no money, a few lakhs of rupees, 10 lakhs or even less than that which was there. And then came the 82 lakhs of rupees. So it was a tall order for the Board of Trustees and the Managing Committee to believe that this institution can be resurrected. But this man did not lose hope. He went about in a very systematic way, believing that it can be done. And the government of Maharashtra came to the rescue of Dr. V. Subramaniam, the then president of our institution, 2 crores of rupees as a grant for the rebuilding efforts, the reconstruction efforts of this auditorium. There are not many great conditions which were there, except that 2 trustees from the government will be there during the reconstruction period only. And not only that, it was the generosity of Mr. Sharad Pawar that he decided that 2 races in Mahalakshmi tax, whatever is collected on those 2 days in the month of December that year will be given to the Sabha. And that money also came to the reconstruction fund of the Shanmukhananda Sabha. Sharad Pawar took the initiative of writing letters to the chief ministers of all the states in the country, including the central government. And each, bulk of them, not all, but bulk of them, contributed 5 lakhs of rupees each from the state coffers for the reconstruction efforts of this Sabha. It was pitched in also by the Prime Minister of the country, then P.V. Narasimha Rao, and cultural budgets were made to give some support to us. But that was grossly inadequate for the size of the project. And at that old age, he decided to go for fundraising efforts in all parts of the country. He came to Chennai, he went to Bangalore, he went to Hyderabad, went to Delhi, went to Kolkata, and had music concerts in various auditoriums and raised monies from each one of the sources for the music lovers for the rebuilding efforts of this institution. It was a tall order, and there were a lot of setbacks during that period. They had decided to import the JBL Harmons acoustic system, the world's best hormone system, coming from London. And the JBL hormone company had also an Indian affiliate, a representative who had been commissioned to do the acoustic system for Shanmukhananda Sabha. This was the second mistake that the divorce onto the trustees of the institution. They did not examine the financial fortunes of JBL Hormone India Limited. The acoustic system had come to India, and the import duty of 52 lakhs was fixed to be paid. And promptly the Sabha gave 52 lakhs rupees. With great difficulty, they would have mobilized from here and there and given it across to Canara Bank. And Canara Bank promptly appropriated the entire money towards the overdue loan of JBL Hormone. And the Sabha was back to square one. But that again did not deter Dr. Subramaniam. He wrote, at least I would have seen him write. I have myself been with him for writing 2 more letters during the last phase of it. JBL Corporation in London. But with great difficulty, he managed 15 lakhs of rupees from the foreign contribution that came from the headquarters. But somehow funds were raised. The acoustic system was cleared. And the Graha Pravesham of this auditorium was done on the 1st of November, 1998. It was almost the fulfillment of the life mission of Dr. Subramaniam. A one-man army who had given rebirth to an institution at that age. He had already reached 84 by that time. And then you could see tears in his eyes when in the morning there were rituals for the formal Graha Pravesham of this auditorium. And in the evening, it was formally dedicated by Dr. P.C. Alexander, the governor of Maharashtra. It was during that time he wanted the Prime Minister to come. But then the relationship with Indira Gandhi was different than the relationship that was enjoyed with the new Prime Minister. Atal Bihari Vajpayee had just assumed the office of the Prime Minister. But it was again that Sharad Pawar did speak to the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister said, I am coming in this week itself, but Alexander alone can do the inauguration. And he said the reason is, if in the governor of Bombay did the inauguration, the Prime Minister followed. It will be like that only here also. So the same week, on the 7th of November of that year, Atal Bihari Vajpayee came formally and inaugurated an international agrochemical conference from the new auditorium. So the saga of success, the trials and the turbulent institutions, you and I are enjoying in the school and bureau, but it is the sweat of that visionary that has given us this auditorium, and the great imagination and the visionary leadership of Professor Ramanujan that gave the original auditorium. On an occasion like this, it is but natural to remember them along with R.S. Mani. But for the triumvirate, Shanmukhananda was fine, it had 5 years, but there were only three who made a difference. And therefore, as we celebrate the 60th year of this Vyasapita, we pay our reverence to all of them, succeeding generations of Board of Trustees who helped these 3 people bring this institution to the level to which it was brought in. On the 27th of December 1998, this auditorium was rechristened as Sri Shanmukhananda Chandrasekarendra Saraswathi Auditorium. The golden period of this institution started from the very same day when Dr. Subramanian named this auditorium after the Mahaswami of Kanchi. It was a strange coincidence that the Kulaswami Mahaswami was Swami Malai, Swaminathan. So it was but natural that he came to coexist along with Shanmughanatha. And I should say that it is the divine blessings of the Lord, Shanmukha, and the grace and the benediction of the Mahaswami of Kanchi that enabled this institution to flourish from the year 1998. During this long journey till now, Golden Jubilee of the Sabha, the Golden Jubilee of this auditorium, the Diamond Jubilee of the Sabha, the Ruby Jubilee of our medical center. We are celebrating the Platinum Jubilee of our Sabha and are celebrating today the Diamond Jubilee of our institution. We have come indeed a very long way in this memorable journey of this institution. In the East, there are only 2 things. One, that it is given birth to, and second, it demises, as I told at the beginning, it gets fossilized. This year we have the Diamond Jubilee Auditorium, and next year we commence the Golden Jubilee of our community healthcare outreach programs, which again was the gift of Professor T.V. Ramanujan, consolidated by Dr. V. Subramanian, and then strengthened during this period of ours to reach out to the poorest of poor in as much as we minister to requirements of culture, music and art. Today we have a presentation on the journey of 60 years, conceived, webbed, created out of great love by Srimati Santosh Rajan. What is unique about this artist is, she was not part of all the history that but an artist can capture vividly what could have happened during those days and then bring it onto the stage so live that you will believe that the artist himself was part of the journey. The Shanmukhananda Theatre Group and the activities of the women's wing of this institution has reached this crescendo under this lady's leadership. So she makes this presentation to all of us one more offering from her, in addition to the 20 dramas that she has staged under the Shanmukhananda theatre group for the benefit of all of us. She has been assisted in this project by G. Subbalakshmi, who this year has been elected as the honorary secretary of the Sabha. In the Platinum Jubilee of the Sabha and in the Diamond Jubilee of this auditorium, it is Nari Sushakti. Both the secretaries are ladies. I'm sure that they should have come earlier. These men had dominated for too long. And I'm sure with the blessings of the Lord and that of the Mahaswami, these women will do great things on this stage and continue this journey. Thank you and God bless. Before she starts her this thing, a formal felicitation to Srimati Santosh Rajan. ಅದು ಕೊಂಡು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ನೀವು ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರ್ಕ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬರೋಣ. ಕೊಡು ಬಾಕಿ ಕೊಡು. Felicitation to Subbalakshmi. Before I leave the stage for her to showcase what she has created, my address would be incomplete without referring to the contribution of Mr. Suvarna, the manager of the auditorium, for a very long time. You will not believe if I were to say that Jyoti Basu, of all the people, when he was told to write the visitor's book, he did not remember any of the trustees. Because you will see Suvarna everywhere. He went long time back, no more. But I think the spirit of Suvarna is what binds all of us together. That even an employee can contribute substantially to further the cause of an institution. And he did that during that golden period. Then many have come. But worthy of mention at all times is Mrs. Suvarna. Thank you.